No, in the today's class we are more focused towards understanding the designing part in terms of Android, how you design particular things, the files, so understanding layouts in Android. What is a layout? First of all, in Android, a layout is called as a kind of a file which you create to design the UI inside it. For an example, if I'm creating a login window and I want to put in general simple UI like two of the text fields. In Android, we call text fields as edit text. So if I want to create two edit text, the first one and below to that the second one, and then I want to put a button below to it, I need a layout file in which I'll create a layout, and in that layout file I'll put these two particular edit text and then below to that one button. This kind of design which happens around all the layouts. Now Android have different kind of layouts with it for different requirements. We will see down the line how it goes. So your layout is basically the architecture, you can say, for your user interface, and you can declare your UI elements. Now UI elements, when we talk about UI elements, are multiple. For an example, I can give you as a checkbox, radio button, then you can say as a button, then your text view. Generally people what we are aware of is like a label or something where you declare username and then you give a box for the user to enter something. The username which you give, generally you call it as a label. In Android we call that as a text view. So text views are there, edit text are there, all these are the UI elements which you put inside your layout file. Now there are so this is like a view. Everything in Android is a view. A checkbox is a view, button is a view, radio button is a view, like this. Now when you create and run the application, what happens underneath the framework is when you are running it, then the instantiation of all the UI elements happen from the layout file. So that's the background working process, what you can say, out of the Android framework. Now how many kind of layouts are there? Now let me tell you, it's like a screen or a particular window where I put all these small UI elements. So these screen basically where I put these kind of UI elements, for an example button, checkbox and radio button, have different scenarios. Now if I am creating a kind of a UI which is like a linear UI, if I say linear, I want to put it in this way, that linear in terms of horizontal or vertical. For an example, I have given you the instance of this login window. In login window, I said on the top of it there will be kind of edit text, below to that edit text, and then the button. Now this is a very simple UI where I am following a very simple structure of vertical direction. The same can be achieved in the horizontal direction. But tomorrow if I am developing an application and a demand comes across to me that boss, what you have to do is you have to create two text fields, one on the left side and then another on the right side, and then in between or in the center or below to that in the center I want the button. These kind of requirements can be fulfilled using the relative layout where the views are related to each other. For an example, my first edit text is on the left hand side and my second edit text is on the right hand side, and in between I have the button. The button is related to both of these edit text for its position. So if I change the position of the edit text, definitely there will be a change in the position of the button automatically. That is where the relative layout comes into picture. So definitely different kind of layouts are there. Now let me show you, as a live practical example. So let's go and start the Eclipse, and from there we'll see how it goes. So I just double click on the Eclipse and just starting. So what happens is different kind of layouts are there. Now these layouts are like relative layout, linear layout. Similarly, there are a couple of view groups, so which contains view inside it. So when I say view group, it's like a particular screen which can contain multiple views inside it. That's what I mean by that. So when we say table layout is generally when we heard table, particular thing comes in mind, and that is rows and columns. Everyone in every kind of a structure or language, anywhere when you see this table layout or table kind of thing, tabular format, it's like a row column thing. Okay, Sridhar has put a very good point here. So can we say layout is a view group? Exactly, Sridhar. So we will say that layout is like a view group, which can contain, so a view group can contain a view group as well as different views. So if somebody asks me, can I put linear layout inside another linear layout, then we can do that. And if somebody asks me, put in a simple linear layout, different views inside it, that is also we can assure that, yes, that can also be done. Now, one thing which we have to look here is, if I can close this and just proceed towards opening our layout file. So last time I have explained you the structure. Can you quickly ping me if I want to open the layout file, in which folder I should look? Just ping me on the chat window. Last time we have talked about. Okay, Suresh has given an answer. Lakshman has also given it. All right, Shantanu has also given the answer. Sridhar has also given an answer. Suman, okay. All right. Divya has given the answer. Utpal has given the answer. Anand, you are missing. Will you also give me? Can you give me the answer for this question, that if I want to look? All right, cool. So got it from you also. Okay, most of you have given the right answer, which is RES. So RES is the right answer. Inside the RES, I have a layout folder in which I have to go. So I have to open this layout folder, and then I will see my different kind of XML files over here. So instead of touching upon these files, let's create a new one right away. So if I want to create a new one, what do I need to do is, I need to click on this layout folder, right click. Okay. Now I just need to go to new, and I can come to, do I see an Android XML layout file here? I do not see that. Whenever you do not see what exactly you're looking for, you have an option to select other. Now inside the other menu comes, here comes the dialog wizard in which I can see Android XML layout file. Do I see that? Yes. So we were at the point of creation of our new file of the XML, which we were creating as a layout file for us. So if I can just click here and give it a name. So if I can give it a name as in, let's say, Edureka sample.xml, and it gives also me the option to choose in terms of, for an example, the layout which I want to use here. So first of all, let's go with a simple one, linear layout. I will click next. You don't have to do anything at this point of time. Optional, choose a specific configuration to limit the XML file, etc., etc. You just need to press the finish button. The moment you do so, layout file will appear in your layout folder. Everyone can see that second.xml is the layout file has been created, and it has also been, the layout has also been open in front of us. Okay, Shandu has put up a question where we select a linear layout and all. Shandu, when we create a new file, we go here, come to other. This is the Android XML layout file. I double click on this. I come here, I give the name of the files. For example, if I give it a name just for now, abc.xml. The XML extension is required, .xml extension. The naming convention is all the letters, if you give it a name, should be in a small case letters, and no kind of special characters should be there apart from underscore. Underscore you can use, and 0 to 9 you can use in between. And from here you select this linear layout or etc. other things. That's how we go about it. Okay, cool. Now just cancel this as we already have a file with us. In this file, what's going to happen is this is a linear layout. There is two layouts attached, or what I can see is there's a two view in general attached to it. For an example, this is a graphical layout where I can see things, I mean how they are going to appear on my screen. So if I just simply drag and drop a button, for that matter, it just comes here and drops it down. Okay. Now if I want to put another button, it will come here, it will come down to it. The beauty of the deal is linear layout has two of the things. So these are two buttons. One is in the linear layout. So what I was expressing is linear layout has two things in terms of orientation. Orientation is one of the property of linear layout. Now please pay attention for this particular thing. It can be vertical, it can be horizontal. Now whenever you put a view in a linear layout which has the orientation vertical, irrespective of where you drop that view, automatically it will come below to the other view. For an example, now here if I put text view, okay, I put this text view, I drag it and I drop it anywhere, wherever I want. If I drag it anywhere, it will come below to this. Now if somebody asks me to go ahead and do things with, let's say, toggle button, I take this and I put it anywhere, it will just come below to text view, or I can put it here at the top. The layout needs to be one below the other in case of a linear layout when it is like kind of orientation is vertical. Now let me show you one thing quickly. Okay, let's go to the XML view of this file. Now please observe this properly, that there, as I have spoken about it, there are two views. One is this .xml extension and the other one is graphical layout. So if you click on this .xml extension, it gives you button and then below a button and then below to that a text view. Okay. Now if I change this orientation from vertical to horizontal, if I change orientation from vertical to horizontal, see what is going to happen on my screen. Just for a quick refresh, I will show you the screen is like this. One button below the other and then the text view. Okay. I'm just changing it to other property which is horizontal. I've changed it to horizontal. Now let's come and see what happened. The entire thing in a linear format only changed into horizontal direction, one by the other. It's still but in the horizontal direction. If you keep the orientation as vertical, it would be in what? It would be in the vertical direction. So orientation is one of the property of the linear layout which manages the way view are going to get rendered over the screen or going to get positioned themselves over the screen. Is that clear with all? That was one of the main property of this linear layout, and I can have multiple linear layouts inside one linear layout. So it's like L1 can have L2 inside it, then L2 can have L3 inside it, or L1 can have L2, L3 both inside it. Sure, Shantanu has put up a clarification question. We do have a graphical controls, but it is also required to understand the XML part of it, but definitely we do have a graphical controls. If you can see here, we can change the orientation from here also. So if I say it horizontal, if I remove horizontal and I put vertical and then I say okay, same thing got converted to this. So yep, it's like you can do it both ways, but also you would require, when you are going to go ahead with a couple of complex application down the line, back and forth kind of interaction with this XML layout will come into picture. So we have to be comfortable from the starting itself with both of them. Okay, so both ways we can do it, that's okay. Dinakar has put up a question, how do we specify both horizontal and vertical orientation? Okay, now if you want to go it with that way, so for an example, if I say in a linear layout I want kind of row and column. It can be either vertical or horizontal. A layout cannot be both horizontal and vertical. In a kind of idea which you can have, for an example, if I want both the things in a linear layout to happen, that is something in the horizontal and something in the vertical, in that case you can put one linear layout. So for an example, let me show you one thing. In this linear layout, what is the type of it currently? It is vertical. Okay, now a requirement comes along to me and somebody asks me that, okay, in the next line I want to put 3 buttons, or let's say 2 buttons, but both of them should be in a single line. Okay, so or what I can say is in a single row. In that thing, what I can do is I can simply go to this layout. So let me also show you, these are the windows. Dinakar says by nested layouts. Exactly, that's what I am coming towards. So you can simply drag and drop this layout here. Once you do that, you can simply put a couple of buttons inside it. So for example, if I put this button here, that's one. If I put another, that becomes here. So within the same design, I can have two kind of stuff the way I want it, provided I need to use 2 different layouts. A single linear layout cannot be both. It can be only one, either vertical or horizontal. That's the way property design. If I walk you through with this, what exactly is here in terms of the form widgets, what you see here, button, large, medium, text view, there are most of them. So I'm not going to go ahead with each of one. You can do your R&D at your side and just quickly drag and drop stuff and see how they come. Like you can provide some star rating part, and kind of would you say a seek bar, and a simple like quick contact badge. In the text fields, if you come across, we have a couple of fields. Now let me tell you what used to happen in the previous case. Okay, in the text fields I can have money simply for the simple name, first name, last name, password, numeric, all that. What used to happen in Android earlier, we did not had all these so many controls. What we had is like one text field, and out of the properties we have to play around to make that according to us. But nowadays you have, I mean, whole lot of options available here. In the layout panel, you can see there is a grid layout, vertical, linear layout, horizontal, relative layout. Now let's go ahead with the relative layout and see what are the differences we feel there in terms of the relation between the views with each other. So now let's go ahead and see the relative layout. How does it work in terms as compared to the linear layout? I can say let's save this file. As of now, I can just simply save this. I'll click it here. One more thing, as we are going along with the Android development, and we should always keep I mean, basic things always in mind before we do actually any of the big windows, anything. Whenever you see this star icon, it's a very simple thing that the file is not safe. So when you are going to use the components of this file in the another Java file, when you write the code to connect it, there are chances, or there definitely you are not going to access it because you have not saved the file. Most of the time it happens normally, so make sure the file is saved. You can press Ctrl save, and then it will make sure the file is saved properly. So I can close it down as of now, and then I can right click on this layout folder. Okay, and now I'm going to create what? I'm going to create a relative layout file. Do I see an Android XML layout file here? I do not see that, so I directly click on other. Now I'm going to click on Android XML layout file. Okay, and this file, I can put it a name as Edureka relative layout.xml, and as I have decided, I can select relative layout. So I can select this relative layout. I have selected, here it is. I can search it in this option. I can press next, and then I say finish. When I do that, you will see the relative layout has come into XML file. So if I see the XML view of this particular file, it comes like this. Okay. Now one more thing I'll discuss shortly about this, which will come into this structure. Whenever you see these particular properties, a lot of question generates into mind. All right, we'll see that how do we handle it. Now if I can simply show you, if I put two buttons, and this time I will make a design a little custom for the same kind of what I have spoken about, kind in terms of three buttons, let's say simply, which will be visible properly. So if I say one button over here, now you see that irrespective of wherever I drop it, it will be come to that position exactly. I can drop one button here, and linear layout was never happening like this. It was in this position with a 0, 0 coordinate. Now if you want me the second button to put just the side of it a little bit, then towards kind of right direction or in between, and then drop it. It comes there. Then let's say third button, I can design it in between or somewhere in between both of them, and it comes here. Now these kind of design which I have just now created is happening with the help of a relative layout. All right. Why these exclamation marks I see on the buttons, the yellow color exclamation marks? The yellow button exclamation marks are coming because I am using the hard-coded text inside it. For an example, what is the name of my first button? Button, B-U-T-T-O-N, which is a hard-coded thing. In general, as an Android standard, it asks you to declare all your names or text which you want to provide to your components inside the strings.xml file and then access it from there. So if I will give it here what I say as @string / app name, or let's say put it here hello world, it is taking the value from the strings file. If I save this, do you see the exclamation mark over there? It's no more. So whenever I do this naming declaration, if it is happening from the strings.xml file, now who all can tell me where do I find this file, strings.xml? Most of you have given the answer. The correct answer is values. Inside the values, I find this strings.xml file. Santosh has also given the same answer, correct. When you click this file, you can declare here your component. So for an example, let's do it quickly. If I want to create a name, let's say for my three buttons, I can give it here like string name. I can give name here for an example, click. Now click 1 will have value attached to it, or I can give it a different way. I can give it btn button 1, and then I can put it here click 1, and I can copy these for 3 values. So I can put it here button 2, button 3, click 2, click 3. I can give any name and any value. It's a kind of simple XML structure which everyone follows, and I can come back to this my file and I can remove the exclamation mark out of these two buttons also. Just now I showed you how to do it from your, what do you say, as XML view, and I'll show you now how you do it from the UI view. Okay, you tap on the button and then you see something called as a button written here. Select this, then what you can do is, I see something called as a button 1. You can simply tap this or just double tap it. The name will change. Select button, select this, tap 3, it will change. So for button 2, I've just given the name as buttons. Click 1, it doesn't matter. I can give it any name. I can give it any name over here. All right. Okay. So that's how it goes. I can save it. Okay. Now let's understand couple of properties attached to a particular view, and then we will come back to our this layout view. As we are going along with understanding couple of properties, few more I would like to address upon. Okay. One thing which is very important for all the views in Android or even a view group in Android is the layout. Is the kind of ID attached to it. So whether it's layout, whether it is a simple single view or anything, there's one property which is attached, which should be attached to all, is your kind of what you say as the ID property. But if somebody asks me, can I have a XML layout file which should not have IDs? Is that right, or is that possible? The answer is yes, that is possible. But down the line, if you frame the question in a way that can I also have the same XML file which don't have IDs, and I want to click on the button and stuff like that, is it possible? It's not possible, because ID relates your component with the Java file by which you can track it. Without ID you cannot track it. So you can run the application, you can show the views, but it won't work if you have not given the IDs properly. Alright, so I was talking about where do we give the IDs exactly. So if I tap on this view, I automatically get the ID as @ plus ID / button 2. Can you see this? Here is my cursor, the one which I have highlighted with a blue color. ID I have given as @ plus ID / button 2. Now what happens is, this is the way we give ID to our components. If I select something else, let's say if I click here, I'm going to click on. Now one more thing, that whichever view you will click here or is in a selected mode, properties to that view will appear to you on the right hand side in the properties panel over here. Now down the line, whenever you are going to practice these things, when you will see this, some of you will face problems that I do not see the property window at all. So in those cases, there are chances, and in that case what can happen is it will create problem. So what you can do is you can go to window, show view, and from here you can select the stuff. If you see your particular thing which you want to see, like properties and all coming here, that is fine. Even after clicking over here, if you do not see that, please click on others, and then you can quickly go to this general to select the general stuff, Android to select the Android stuff. That's the one of the quick sort to this problem. Definitely I can maximize the window. So if you see this window, I have selected a button. There is a huge list of IDs attached to it. Now if I am a newcomer and let's say I do not get all the properties, to explain all the properties, and I mean kind of there are lot many properties are there. I'll just quickly go through with a couple of them which are important ones. But as a newcomer, if I have opened this window, what I can do is I can just take my cursor to this view. It will give me what this particular property is about. Supply and identify name for this view, or later retrieve it with the view, etc., etc., etc. You can take it and read it from here, and you can do your R&D along the way. How did I display this window? Is if you double tap it, it got minimized. All the windows are here. The property window was there, and here also available. So I double tap this, and it got maximized. Okay, so I can have multiple. So if I just take it on the text, it says text to display. If I take it on, let's say, height and width, minimum height, makes the text view be at least this many pixels tall, etc., etc. So I mean, in a general width and height, if you see this width or height, the same properties you will find, what you say, in the .xml extension. So what is currently the height and width? Let me explain you these things from here also, as you have already seen the property window. Now let's see this XML view. In this particular button, this is one button starting from this tag and ending over here. Okay, these has many properties attached to it. The ID, where you can see the ID is @ plus ID/button1. Now somebody asked me, can I change the ID? Yes, definitely you can change it, because tomorrow down the line if you are creating 50 buttons in a good application, do you need to give it like button1 to button 50? Definitely not. We have to give it a relevant name. So in that case, if I want to change the ID, I can definitely change it. The only thing which I need to take care of is, in Android always the ID should be given in a way as @ plus ID slash. This much is mandatory in every ID, whichever you give. Post this, you can write your relevant name or anything which you would like to, and underscore is allowed. So what I can say is, let's say BTN 1. So if I give it a name as btn_1, I'll just quickly open a r.java file for you to show how does the change happens, so that you can have an exact idea what I'm talking about. Guys, I have not saved this file as of now. The start icon is still there. So if I come to this r.java, most of you have given me the correct answer. That was right in the ID thing. If you see, still the button 1 is there. So what if I change it? If I save it, control save, and I go to this r.java, what do I see here? Do I see button 1 now? Yes, that's what one of the things is. So if you change the IDs, IDs will be changing here. It's just to show you. So it's better as less as we interact with our r.java. Just for the confirmation, things are going fine. We interact with it, but make sure you do not make any space or single change into that. It will create problem. So what happens is, now if I go it this way, then if I put the button 2 btn_2, the button 2 will still appear. So if I open my relative file, and I go here in the XML extension, and I say that button 2 copy, I'll do it this time with the UI view. So if I want it that way, I can click here. This is my button 2. I go to properties panel. I change, this is my properties panel. I change the ID. I say btn2. It asks me update all references as well. This will update all XML references. So if you do it UI wise, definitely it will do it for all. New name button 2. This was the ID, update references. Okay. The moment you do that, the particular ID has been changed. For you, if the properties window is appearing on the right, again if you go to window and show view properties, or just try to drag and drop it, will that be fine if you are able to manage the view? So if you just tap it here and try to drag it towards the location where you want, or from the right hand side also, you can just maximize it from the same panel. Here is the panel, maximize and minimize. If you will click on that, it will do the same for you. So ideally the property window will become bigger and you can edit the properties easily into that. Now as I have changed the button 2 ID, let's go in the XML file and see it is changed for all places. Okay. So basically the property window is not coming at the bottom. Alright. We'll just see it. Just a moment. So if I say button 2, is it everywhere edited? Yes. If I close this and then I say save it, obviously, and close it down. I close this file and then again I open a layout file and I open r.java. Now here you do not see something called as button 2 existing. BTN1 and button1 existing, but button2 is not existing. The meaning is that when I have updated from the UI panel, it is updated at all the relevant places. But when I changed it from the XML layout panel, it doesn't update it at all the reference panels. Now sometimes let me tell you, apart from this programming file which we see here, there are also files attached which runs in the background as a jar. So when you change something here, there are chances they are also getting changed at those places. So if you change physically something here and say control save manually in the XML extension file manually, it will update the files which are here directly, but it won't update things which are in the jar format. So what happens is there are chances some things are not get updated. That's why you still see this button1 and BTN1. But when we did it via the UI panel, it asked me properly the dialog that this will get updated at all the places. And when I did that, it was updated everywhere properly. So that's the answer to the question to which Dinakar has asked me. Is that clear, Dinakar, now? So yes, definitely, it's always better to update the UI elements from my property window. But it is also very important to understand the XML view of it and couple of properties which you want, you can change it from there itself. Dinakar, now it's clear? I've put up this question that you see both of this stuff. All right, cool. Shantanu, now I'll come back to you. And as you said that the property panel is not coming at the bottom. That's what the problem is causing here. Okay, so where is your property panel as of now? As you said, it's on the right hand side. Somewhere over here, like it was my property window. So if I just quickly drag it over here, I can drag it things. So these are the green frames which are coming. If I drag it over somewhere here, it will come here, or I can drop it anywhere like that. It will put the property panel over there. Now, I just want to make sure that things are fine. If you change this particular thing, I clicked on the minimize button, it comes me over here. Can you click on that minimize button and see where your views are going if you have a minimize button over here? Sure, then I'll try on that. It's muted as of now. Just give me 1 minute. I'm setting up something. Uh, yep, I'm back. The problem with the icon is still persists, but in the recording it won't be there because the recording is happening at some other side also. It shouldn't be there. But if I have to close this icon, it will require a restart, which will break the session. Cannot do that, which would require the break the recording. So apologize for that, but I mean that's not going. I tried a couple of times refreshing or doing something. It's not going. Sure, we will have the break. I have planned for it 9:20. Will that be fine if you go ahead with that plan? We'll have a 10 minutes or break in between, and then end the session for 1 hour, couple of minutes from there onwards. There are chances if I change player on this volume, it might create a problem in terms of audio conveying, so that's why I'm not touching upon that. Okay, so yep. All right, so what is happening in between? Okay, and has put up a question: is it safe to run critical applications on Android? Yes, and I mean it's all right. Critical applications like in an automobile. Critical applications. Can you please elaborate on that? Sure, Shantanu, we'll sort it out. Post the session, definitely we'll sort it out. Your property panel thing, I'll take on that. Utpal has said, when I'm opening sometime the project, I used to see some compilation error, red line, R. How to resolve that? Okay, let's go ahead and we have seen a couple of properties here. Just few more things, important things, which I want to address is if I click on this click button and if I enable this property panel, maximize it in that way, and then if I just see the layout parameters are in a, what you see as, I can expand and collapse these parameters. So if I expand them, I see something called as width and height. Now I'll show you a very important thing here. You can click on the view. Currently, what is the text in the hello world is hello world. If I will increase the text length, automatically the length of the button will increase. So if I say it is hello world, and let me put, I'll just change it for time being. So I'll say hello world, hello world 2 times. I go back. Is it increasing the size of the button in terms of width? Yes, it does. The property of the button is currently what? Height is wrap content, which is highlighted. Width is wrap content. The meaning of the wrap content property is it will take the size of the particular text, how much it will take to accommodate that text. So if I say my text contains 10 characters, it will take automatically the size of 10 characters. If I reduce the size, automatically the size will reduce. It happens based on the property called as wrap content. If you ask me that, can I give the property as fill parent? Yes, we can give the property as fill parent. So I can put and give a property to my click 3 button as a fill parent. It will increase, make the size of the button as much the size of the parent is. So what is the size of the parent is? Ideally, if I give it a fill parent, it will become from this side, from this length to this length. That would be the size of my click 3 button. So if I give it a, let's say, size in terms of wrap content. I change it to fill parent. See what happens. It took the complete size of the screen. Okay, that's how the change takes place. So about a couple of properties. You can walk around other properties and analyze which property does what. You can play around with it and see how thing works. So these are the two important layouts, a linear layout and kind of relative layout I have explained here. Similarly, we have other layouts like table layout, then we have a grid view, then we have a list view, we have a frame layout. I have shown you linear layout and relative layout. I want you as an assignment to work upon table layout to see how thing works. It is explained in the PPTs. I want you to do a little bit R&D and see are you able to figure it out. The main layouts I have explained. These are the main two layouts. Basically, relative layout is the major at the kind of when you write commercial applications and real industrial based applications. This is the kind of layout which we use in most of the applications because this gives us enough kind of leverage in terms of positioning of views at the runtime as well as statically. Utpal has asked a question, fill parent and match parent are same. Exactly. Now this is a very beautiful question. It actually gets asked in multiple times and this has a very kind of, would you say as answer. The fill parent has been deprecated post 2.2. The Android version 2.2, after that the fill parent was deprecated, but because by 2.2 when it was there in the market, most of the applications were using fill parent and the people are so attached to this fill parent that they are so used to use of this fill parent property. The Google has thought of giving it a name as match parent. That sounds much better and relevant. So because you are making the size of the particular view as the match parent, that's the only difference is there in the match parent. So even if I change the property of this particular view as match parent, automatically it will start behaving like your fill parent, nothing else. So now let's go ahead and see simple grid view. So if I just try to open this and okay, so my activity is starting. I have said one thing last time clearly, whenever I have to track anything related to the layout or basically about the device, I come to the console. Whenever I have to see anything related to my application, I go to logcat. Okay, why does this web view comes over as of now is because we were using a web view in this screen somewhere over here. All right, that's because of that the web view is coming here. Okay, now what I would like to go ahead with is activity underscore in. I'll close these things. Okay, we have created a file which is second.xml. How do we charge the emulator? My emulator says to plug in power emulator. Your laptop is charged. Your battery of laptop is good. Shantanu? Okay. No, sure. So the emulator shouldn't go. It might be showing you like currently if I'm connected to power. If you can see in my emulator, it is showing the power is connected. That's how it works. It's nothing as such. All right. So if I click it back, it's coming here. Okay. So I'm coming first of all. Let me quickly create the layout file. I'm just creating one layout file and I'm going to put a grid view inside it. Okay. Android XML layout file, as we have seen it 2 times. I can go a little peacefully on this. So you can give it a name as my grid.xml. I say I can have a grid view over here, so I can say next and then say okay. Harsha has put up a question. When I run my sample application, I don't see icon in my emulator. So here we are going to take a grid view. So what I can say is I can simply take a grid layout here, so I can say grid layout or grid view. I'll take a grid view. Grid layout or grid view is similar. It's just like okay. So in the layout picture here, I just can take a grid view. I can simply drag and drop it here. The moment I take a grid view, it comes as on like a grid format to me. Whenever I want to see quickly the properties to it, just go to XML and see what all properties are here. First of all, ID is given to this grid view. That's all right. The layout width and height to be match parent and wrap content. That's all fine, because as the number of items will increase, automatically the height and width will adjust themselves. The width has been given as match parent so that it will completely come over the screen and occupy the width. Number of column has been given as 3. That means at a time it can occupy 3. You can change it to 2. I can change it to more than that. So if I change it to 4, it will be a 4 column grid view. If I change it back to 3, it will be a 3 column grid view. I can simply save this, and now I can go to my main activity. Okay. So if you want to do our stuff in a fresh, I would like to select a new class instead. So if I can come here and I can create a new class, I can say my grid view, I can say browse, and I can create the activity. What I did is I am trying to create another class of Java, like we checked the last time also, that if we change the intent filter and all, how does it happen? The similar thing I'm doing nothing new stuff over here as of now. Column wise width and all, Prashant, if you want to check them out, there are properties. You can make changes into those properties and it will reflect on the grid view as far as column width and height is concerned. And there's a simple grid view in this class which I'm going to explain. Down the line we'll also see the custom rendering of each grid into our application. How does that work? Okay. All right. Now, so I was creating the grid view class. I can just quickly, as I am trying to select a new class, I made it this as an activity. I can say finish. The activity is got created. I'll just import a couple of methods as we did last time similarly. So we are just following the same operation, nothing new. I've selected on create and I'll select on resume. That's it. I'm just needing 2 of the methods as of now, one to connect and one to do stuff. Okay, so which is the line I'm going to write to connect my XML file with this Java file? As we discussed, the file is the particular line of code is set content view. So I can put set content view here, then I can give it like r.layout dot my grid, and I can say dot. Okay. Now what I need to do is, as I'm going to work in this my grid, I have to use the ID. So I have to declare the grid view in my class. So grid view is a class every view in Android is a class, so I can use it. So grid layout, grid view, grid equals to grid view, find view by ID, and I can give it an ID here as r dot id dot grid view 1. Save it. Now what I will supply in the grid view, let's say, so I'll create a string array, okay, to supply it to my grid view. So I'll give it here as A, B, D, E, F, only this much, and in the grid view or list view we can supply the data with the help of a adapter class. This is one of the important thing to understand. The grid view and list view can contain the data via the adapter class. So I'm going to use here array adapter class, which is one of the class given in Android. I just double tap it. To maximize the window, you can just double click it and it will maximize. To minimize, you can close it back. That's it. Okay. Now I'm going to use the array adapter class. So if I use array adapter, or I can use it this way, grid dot set adapter new array adapter. There are constructors, as you can see. I have to select one which will take 3 parameters. Okay, so it takes 3 parameters. I am interested into these. One is taking the context, the second parameter is taking what? The text view resource ID, and third is taking what? The array objects. So what is our array object? Is the string. Okay, so if you are understanding, if you have a concept of templates, here the T will get replaced by a string. Why? Because I'm going to supply a string array to this thing. What will be the context? This, because I'm using within this activity. What will be the text view resource ID? Android dot r dot layout dot simple list item 1. At the end, you have to give the object. What is the object of your string array? What is the declaration type? str. Select. Now with this, if we simply go to our manifest file to add the activity, as we did it for the last time, click on the add button, activity, click on the activity, say click on browse button. It will give you my GridView, which is activity for us. We'll click it back, say control save, it will save the application. Now you can see that the activity has come here. I'll just put the intent filter as we did the last time. The cut paste thing, we did it last time just to make this particular activity as primary activity for us. So the launching will happen from here. That's it, nothing else. I can save it. I can go back to my grid view. And now if I will start the application, see what happens. To track the application, let us see what comes to our screen. Can we see a grid view? It's a grid format. One grid, second grid, third, fourth, fifth, like that. If I just minimize it and then I, let's say, change it, and I supply more number of elements. Currently the elements are those which can adjust on the size. So the size of the elements inside a grid is limited. So the class which I have created, in this class, first of all, I have declared a grid. Okay, that's a grid which I have created. I have given the string array declared over here. In the on create option, I have given set content view to connect the file, layout file with mine, and I have defined the grid instance which is of the grid view so that I can put something inside this grid. This line grid.setAdapter, we are putting the object of array adapter here. This array adapter class is a class which supplies data to our grid view. Grid views, list view cannot directly access data. So grid view and list view cannot access directly from an array or somewhere, like of an string array or something. They require the adapter classes to supply data to them. So as of now, we are seeing the array adapter class which is responsible to supply the data to our grid view. Now this array adapter class takes couple of parameters to it. The parameters which are listed here is, first of all, what kind of array you are going to pass. What is the array type you are going to pass? What is our array? It is of type string. So string, this is the type. Then the three parameters. First is the context. So current class is the context which I am passing. Android.r.layout.simplelist_item1 is something. You see that grid view is like kind of a view group, but you still see this kind of A, B, C, all those coming on the screen. Generally we say that whenever we have to create a label kind of thing or a text we want to show, we take a control called as a text view. But we have not used any kind of text view so far in our XML layout, but we are able to render the text on the screen. This particular job of showing text inside a grid view without taking a text view as a separate control is handled via android.r.layout.simple_item1. Simplest item 1, that's what you can understand as of now, and try to work it out with other options which are given as simple list item 2, 3 and all. How does they actually show and renders over the screen? That is the meaning of this particular parameter. The third parameter which I have passed is the string array. This is the array of the string which I have passed. That is it. So this is completely becoming an object of array adapter which I am supplying to this grid view so that it can show the data, and that's why it is coming like this. Okay, now is it clear with all? You have to try it, you have to work it out. When you do the hands-on exactly, then you will understand it 100%. As of now, try to get around with the concept and get clear with the things that we are using. When you do it the hands-on, then you will become more confident in terms of, yes, I have actually understood it right, and what I have understood and I am implementing that. So that much clearance should happen as of now. But this complete exercise requires a good hands-on practice to actually have complete fundamental understanding of the grid layout as well as list view down the line as we move on. What I'm trying to put here is, so is that the particular thing is clear with you all? The grid view, how does it work and how do we pass the data inside it? Is it clear with you all? Can you quickly acknowledge? Okay,